Hello, my name is Robbie Borth. I am here with some other players who are with the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing community, and we are going today to be playing Polaris, which written by, you'll see it under two names. Ben Lehman is one, and Ben Lehman now goes by P.H. Lee. So if you're looking for the game, it may be under either of those designations. And he has a website, Tau Games, which you can find this game there and other games that P.H. Lee has done. We are going to start just quickly going over safety tools. I have for the players a Jamboard set up, which has various kind of information for the game. And one of the pages on the Jamboard has some of our safety tools. Always with safety tools, we will have the X card available. And so if somebody says X card or puts an X in front of them or types up X card in the chat, that would be an indication that we'll immediately stop play, take a step backward, and kind of go into a different direction. If there are any questions asked, it's purely a question to kind of clarify, to make sure that we know what it is that we should be avoiding. We also are going to use the tool of lines and veils, and on the Jamboard, currently we have as a line sexual assault, and if it's a line, it means that this is something that will not come up in the game, that is being excluded from the game. And we have listed under veils explicit torture, sex, and violence toward children. These items are veiled, which means they can be mentioned, but they won't be discussed or described, that they will happen kind of off stage, or we kind of, if it gets mentioned, we may quickly fade to black. And then the other safety tool is the open table policy, so that if for whatever reason a player feels that they need to leave the table, that is perfectly fine. If you know that you are leaving and don't really want to come back, you can let us know that. Although, if the emergency is such that you just need to leave, that is perfectly fine. And what I think we will do now is talk a little bit about our protagonists, so that we are reminded of those. And I think maybe the way to do this is I'll just go back to the first page of the Jamboard, and so we have different pages for different night protagonists. And the first one in the Jamboard is Stephen, you and your character, Alshane.
Hi there, I'm Steven, he, him, and I'm playing Alshane, he, him. Unfortunately, I cannot, the Jamboard just isn't working for me, so I'm, from memory, Alshane is a member of a lineage that is said to have some distant descent from travelers from the south, and despite their long ancestry here in Polaris, still are viewed as outsiders by the people of Polaris.
Next up, going to the next page, Brandon.
Hi, I'm Brandon He. My character is Andromeda, she, who is the daughter of the morning star, a high office in the cult of the morning star, who is the herald of the sun, an entity that has taken up residence within the mistake, and who we believe also exists in the sky and it presaged the coming of the sun itself. Andromeda is an outrider and a corruption fighter. And she is bedeviled, literally, by Nyx, a handsome demon who argues with her that corruption is inevitable and that therefore her office is an exercise in futility. She maintains her connection with humanity, as it were, through her little sister, Vulpecula, also known to her as Little Fox, who is very precious to her. She rides a beast that looks like a horse that can run on the air. It is a unique animal called Gwynnephar.
Okay. Next on the Jamboard is me. So my name is Robbie, he, him. I am playing Acamar, he, him pronouns. Acamar is not only a knight of the Order of the Stars, as are the other knights, but I am part of a special group known as the Sentinels of the Southern Lands. We are a group that has been kind of tasked with watching what is happening with respect to the South, which with the appearance of the morning star and the sun, we are kind of increasingly aware. Not only do we have the threat of the mistake, but we also are concerned about peoples from the South that we are becoming increasingly aware of. So I am particularly large for somebody from Polaris, which we kind of imagine the people of Polaris to be typically thin and slight, whereas I have a kind of bigger brawn to me, which is perhaps why I was kind of chosen to be part of the Sentinels of the Southern Land. And I have the person who kind of put me on this detail is a guy named Scutum, captain of the Matriarch's Guard. And I have a, for my new moon character right now, I have Xania, who is a Southern woman who Acamar is in love with. And finally, Kieran.
Hello, I'm Kieran, he, him. I'm playing Heka the Bride, she, her. Heka is basically, she is very famous as she's kind of renowned champion, sort of taking a Lancelot almost position in the Knights of the Order of the Stars. She's very famous as a demon slayer. She's famous as a demon slayer for a very particular reason that, well, there's a sort of tragedy. She was married. She was married to Ursa. They were kind of a golden couple. They had a child, Capella. Everything was like, it was just briefly this sort of golden hope. And then Ursa had a fatal disease. He was going to die. And he rode off saying he would find a way to carry on living. And he came back as a demon, wanted to kill both me and both Heka and Capella. To which point Heka killed him. And he comes back again. And this is kind of a legend now, is that she is this bride whose groom, Ursa, constantly tries to come and kill her. That's kind of the heart of her. She's close to Libra, who is the mother of Ursa, who is the matriarch of Tallstar, who is, shall we say, she is quite a radical sort of fundamentalist figure. She's enormously anti-demon. So the fact that her son has become what he has is a matter of like both anger and shame. And I've got a sort of, the out of sort of the modern phrase would, I'm presently having an emotional affair with her husband, Till, who of course is the father of my my demonic husband, which is not quite turned anything physical yet, but it's sort of very much threatening too. And that's where she is at the moment.
So I'm going to start with the key phrases that begins the play, which goes like this. Long ago, the people were dying, at the end of the world. And then also, as we start diving into this, the first time your protagonist enters into play, there is also a key phrase. But hope was not yet lost, for whatever the protagonist's name is still heard the song of the stars. So we will try to kind of keep abiding by those, and then as we get into it, we'll also have the conflict phrases that will be coming into play. If anybody has a scene that they would like to propose.
So I wanted to clarify, Brandon, when you say that your character is a corruption fighter, what do you mean by that?
Meaning that her office for the Morning Star is to find corruption, especially she's a circuit rider, and so she's to find places where where corruption is leaking out that threatens the established order, and attack it, or bring force to bear on it if it's too much for her to tackle herself. She's been gifted with the ability to basically get around from one place to another very quickly. And so her job is to make sure that corruption doesn't find a nest in hidden places where it can grow and fester and become a huge problem because no one knows it's there until it erupts.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify whether we were talking about like political or actual like physical corruption. Okay.
If she were brought in political corruption, she'd be out of her element. That doesn't mean it couldn't happen. And as I noted, her Andromeda means, to some case, which is her name, which means the sacrifice. So there's an implication that the office uses you up, that she has. But since she doesn't know what the Morning Star is going to do now that they are here, her specific role in facilitating that is unclear to her.
I have an idea, just kind of looking at my New Moon character. I think it could be interesting to see how Andromeda would react if Vulpecula, in a conversation, announced that she would like to become a corruption fighter as well. And I kind of imagine that Vulpecula is not somebody that that Andromeda would see as being kind of equipped in that kind of a role. I mean, it would be dangerous, right?
No, she's completely. she's very much not equipped for it. She's not a knight of the order. She's a capable young woman, but demons and monsters are on a whole different level of threat than anything she's ever accustomed to dealing with. So Sharon, let's do it.
Okay, and I do you have a sense of what Vulpecula currently would be doing? Like how does she spend her time?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean, I could propose that she works in an archive. And so we could set the scene, maybe in this kind of library archive. She doesn't run it, but she's one of the people who is whose job it is to help keep things in order. And I imagine you normally check up on her sometimes, like if you're passing by the area that you might.
Every chance I get.
Yeah. So
which sometimes means long periods without, because I don't. Because when things happen, I don't get to decide my schedule.
Okay. Yeah. So let's make.
I don't know when the Morning Star is going to call.
So let's imagine that you have just returned from some mission that you have been on, and you take the first opportunity to come check up on Vulpecula, and it's the middle of the day, so well, yes. Such as the day is, without necessarily a regular sun, but she's in the archive.
The Guinevere lights on the balcony, on the third story balcony outside of the archive, and I hop off and throw open the door and bang my knuckles on the door frame. Little Fox, are you in?
Little Fox, he hears the banging on the door, and given that it's on the balcony, she knows who it must be, because who else kind of enters normally from the balcony but Andromeda. So she rushes upstairs and flings open the door and embraces Andromeda. Says, "Oh, it's I was beginning to get worried. Hadn't seen you for a number of days."
I having stripped off my helmet and my gloves as I was coming in. I embrace her warmly and give her a kiss on either cheek, and then say, "I miss you. I always miss you when I'm out."
I always miss you as well, but I've got news that we may not have to always spend quite as much time apart from each other.
You astonish me. How is this possible?
And Vulpecula doesn't say anything, but she reaches into her pocket and presents you with a paper with a seal. You recognize the seal, right? It's the seal of the Knights of the Order of the Stars. And she says it's a note of invitation. I don't know how this happened, but somebody thinks that I have what is needed to join the Knights.
What? This who did the invitation come from? And perhaps someone in the Matriarch's Guard? Stephen? Would that work?
Did you have a particular thought for me?
Well, I mean, you have a full moon character that's Scudam, who's the captain of the Matriarch's Guard.
I thought I was or am I the full moon for you? Sorry, like I said, I cannot see the jam.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to tie characters together, and perhaps that's unnecessary. I'm still feeling how this game works. Excuse me.
But yeah, that works for me. I'm just trying to fix things here on my end.
No. What, this is this is a tremendous honor, of course, but why?
Well, oh, and Stephen has left. We'll wait 1 second and see. You know, my thought here is it will be from Scudham, but Scudham is
Well, he's not here. It's just I just wanted
right, but I you know, really the cause of the invitation, well, there's there seems to be somebody else who's taken an interest in me.
I don't understand. These I take her hands and I said, these hands are meant for the acquisition of knowledge, for understanding, for paging through books. Not feel wielding a sword.
Well,
surely.
I mean, surely they will train me in what I need to do, and it may be that the knowledge I've acquired as a result of having, you know, worked in here is something that that the knights have need of.
I don't want you to go. I don't want you to accept. It's too dangerous.
Well, it's too late. I've already replied, and she brings out now from her pocket a ring, which, you know, is given to people who have accepted the charge.
What have you done? Why have you done this? Is it not enough that one of us might never come back from this? That I must depart here, never knowing whether I am coming, whether I am returning to safe house and home. The sure knowledge that I may have to give my life at any time for this fight. If you die, who will I come home to? What will be my purpose? Who am I fighting for?
Vulpecula looks, you know, really, she wasn't expecting this. She says, you know, I thought surely you would be happy. I mean, it's not everybody who gets this type of opportunity. And I, you know, you've been so proud of your work.
I don't have the option to be proud of my work or not. I was chosen, and the role thrust upon me, and there was no refusing. And I've done well in that I'm still alive. And I've seen some things that no one has seen, and the honor is tremendous. At the same time, it's crushing. I love you, little one. And the thought of you having to struggle against some of the demons and monsters that I have encountered clutches at my heart. It's tremendous honor. It is extraordinary. I'm not surprised that they would extend this invitation to you. I just wish they hadn't.
Pecula says, well, listen, there will be more time to talk. You know, I haven't yet started my training. That will begin next week. But look, you're back. I'm happy that you have returned. And listen, why don't we have a look? We'll have dinner. We'll have dinner tonight, and we can talk about this further.
Yes, of course. I should have that much time at least. But you know, my time is not my own. And I hope to have at least a day or two to breathe and wash the blood off my armor. They've promised me that much, but needs Trump promises. We'll talk later. And that was how it happened, I think.
Yes. So that would bring, yeah, that was how it happened. Ends the scene.
Yeah, and I do want to bring up, I feel like perhaps, sorry for not being more involved in that scene. I was just trying to get this Jamboard to work, and I have. But I think, have you expressed a not a strong antipathy for the people, but it does feel like you've expressed a what's the word? A
Ambivalence?
Yeah, ambivalence towards the order and its decisions.
Yes, absolutely. Because, well, among other things, you know, the morning, you know, the Morning Star is not viewed well by everyone. You know, some think that you know, that he is you know, the true prophet, and others think that he is well, at best false, and at worst, you know, a demon in disguise.
Oh yes, but I was asking you to roll for experience for me.
Oh, yes. I don't know the mechanic.
Yes.
You'll roll a single d6, and if it is, I believe, equal to or below. Yeah,
Yes.
equal to or below your zeal. You'll reduce zeal by 1 and increase your ice or light by 1.
Gotcha. And I got a 6. So
Okay.
my zeal is still good. I have a scene that I'd like to happen, but doesn't have to happen right now, which is a discussion between Andromeda and Heka.
That sounds great.
And okay, and Andromeda has been Heka's boon friend, and perhaps desires to be more.
Great. Also, actually,
So, and the thing is, usually we want to designate who is the actual heart character for the scene, because we want to usually make one, because that will determine who's playing the mistaken for the scene.
Right.
Yes, I think Heka's the heart character.
Okay.
Thanks again for the reminder, Stephen.
cool. So I'm just checking who's playing my various New Moon characters and stuff.
Yeah, I'm the mistaken for you.
Yes.
Cool. So abstractly, we should I should say, but hope was not all lost yet. But hope was not yet all lost. For Heka still heard the Song of the Stars.
Yes.
And the picture, and like the scene I kind of want is Heka on the battlements of Tallstar, or whatever our main city is called, looking out to the east. in that she's heard tales of this burnished figure stalking the way from the mistake towards here, and she's got the knowledge of like one way or another she'll end up having to face this, and she's just hoping it's not Ursa again, and at the same time kind of hoping it is Ursa again because she has to go south soon, and if if she actually faces him now, that'll be that means he probably won't come for a while, maybe. Yes. But you can never be sure.
Heka.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you yeah, you hear the sound of hoofbeats, and Andromeda is riding up to you. It's the Gwynnephar is following the contour of the hill, but not actually touching the ground.
I watch it. There's Heka has a flicker of envy, as in like there's aware of the magnificence of this. It seems a very and it's going to remind Heka there's still magic and beauty in this world that is difficult to recall at such times.
And she is beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, I think.
Sometimes she's the only reminder that I have that that the world has something wonderful in it, and my only companion. You're waiting for him to come again, aren't you?
What else do I do?
What else? That's my point. Why do you have to do this? Why does it have to be you?
It's difficult. I'm the only one. I'm the only person I can trust to myself to do this. And Andromeda. I don't have the magical. I don't have the magical creature to let me take to the skies. My daughter lies behind these walls, and I am the wall between it, and her. And I cannot. If I shirk from this duty slightly, I just don't like to think what could happen.
If this were my own personal steed, I would gift her to you, so that you could get away from here.
This is because you are, and that's a moment like it completely gets her in this like this is because you're a good friend and a good person and better than and as and you're a reason why this land has hope. Are you? That's what she's. Is there something amiss?
I feel my sister is joining the knights.
I'm sorry. She wants to say I'm sorry, but almost like she's very aware that her relationship is different, and she says, "I understand it's difficult. Would you want her to be my squire?" Immediately, Heka's the sort of person who goes to solutions rather than empathy. That's the that's the kind of moment in this. If she needs to be someone's squire, it best she be mine.
Yes. Yes, actually, I would like that very much. I hadn't even thought of that.
Thank you.
There must be some way. There must be someone else who can take this burden from you. You shouldn't have to fight him every time. I understand he's cursed to come back for perhaps forever. But why does it have to be you?
It's like
why can't I go? I can find him. I can find him out in the wastes, far from Talistar. Surely.
Perhaps it's like we have the to death do his part of us. We swore our oaths, and and I remember as he rode off, he looked so beautiful as the sunlight hit him. He rode off trying to find the cure, and he came back. He's done it all for me. This is there's a moment of like she kind of says, and his mother says occasionally, his mother says that this is the story that inspires the people. It's like Heka, you are but a woman, and it's a heavy weight, but now you're also a myth. This is the sort of thing that keeps people fighting for the winter, knowing that there's heroes like you on the battlements. In some awful way, the fact it is bigger than me, it makes it easier. You know, if I was but a knight or a woman or anything else, it would be easy to fall. But I could be Heka the bride.
You're not but anything. You are not, but a woman. You are, however, a woman.
And let me say,
Yes.
if I can, as the mistaken, Stephen, am I allowed to kind of interject something?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
remember, you're the mistaken, so you're allowed to. Technically, anyone is allowed to interject something. It's just that the mistaken and the heart have the most power to do that.
All right. So at this point, the two of you see off in the east something that looks like a really. You don't hear it, but you see what this kind of lightning flash that's struck off in the east.
There's a big long sigh.
And I think if I could also add something in, I think that as you look down from the ramparts, you see a single horse riding out from Tall Star in that direction, and on its back is Capella.
I was actually about to say before this ending is I'm really glad just to interject even before all of that. I was literally about to say, and I feel glad that Capella has talked many times of wanting to be a knight and a squire, and I simply won't let her. That was actually the thing I was about to say, but that is literally the pan across to fucking Capella, or a more period appropriate swear word. I glance right, quick, please, take me.
Yes. Come, mount up behind me.
Sure.
The Gwynnephar kicks into gallop and crosses the intervening stretch in an astonishingly short period of time.
Yeah.
And catch up with Capella.
And I'd note that, never mind.
I mean, I'm sort of trying to push for the mechanic now to sort of just see how it works. So I would say, oh yeah, we catch up and we ride alongside, and I managed to safely slow Capella's horse slowed down.
You do that, but just as you slow her down.
Well, remember, what are your actual which of these key phrases are you hitting on? Because that determines what key phrases Kieran can respond with.
Now we haven't hit a key phrase yet, right?
Yeah.
Well, but you're
grab Capella's bridle.
It sounds like you're hitting a key phrase though, because you're saying you do that, but so it sounds like but only if.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to understand. When Kieran says "I grab Capella's bridle" or something like that, that's a conflict phrase, right?
No, that's
just it can be free play if nobody interjects.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I was expecting someone to say something like, "You asked for far too much," and then I would go back and say, "I managed to, I do it, but it really."
Yeah, the thing is, only Robert can ask for phrases like those.
Yeah. That's why I was sort of trying to prod it to see how it operates. But cool.
Because the little star, is that it?
Okay, so let's get into it. So you do that, but only if you notice that Capella is wearing a blue sapphire necklace that belonged to Ursa.
That's great. Yeah.
Yep. Then you can just say and
so it was. No.
Well, no, and that was how it happened, and so it was ends the scene.
Yeah, and that was how it happened.
Yeah, I think that as you pull alongside her, Ursa says, "Let me go, Mother. I know that you have I know that you want nothing more to do with Father, but he's visited me and he's offered to allow me to become his squire, even though you won't let me."
He's come. That literally, her head virtually explodes in terms of he is off. He says he is here to drink our blood and take some awful takers and mergers in some awful mistaken ritual. How can you believe his lies?
All I know is that he has told me you have done nothing but lie to me. I have thought he was dead, but he is alive.
Whatever came out, whatever comes out, have you?
He is dead. Come back.
Yeah.
No. Heka, and Heka, your vows until death do you part have been sundered.
I think philosophically, I've been in the books, and there's definitely. I spent many times in the books trying to unpick the philosophy of this in this terms of, is it if death sticks? This is to be honest, I'm much better at sword play than the player of the books like this. It will be seen. My daughter, you cannot be you have not seen him, and if you truly looked upon him instead of whatever whispers which are coming to you, you would know he is not your father. Or if he is your father, he had become something he would not want you to be with. At the moment, it's like, just, would you be another squire if not my father? You know, if not your father's, would that be enough for you? Or, I mean, are you going to ride out there? I could not afford to lose you. I've given up so much. It's not what he would want either.
Like tears are in her eyes. I know what he wants. He's come to speak with me, unlike you. And I'm wondering if at any point, Robbie, that Ursa does make an appearance here.
I was about to say is, okay, for this once, you will see him. And I will walk alongside you and you will see what the man is. Like if Ursa is out there, I'm quite prepared to go with my daughter to sort of have the moment. Because I think we can establish in the fiction, she's never actually seen any of these demon fights. I've kept her locked away. So depending how this goes, this could be anything. So this is like a big moment for them both. If that's, interesting.
Okay.
So you notice off in the east, two riders. One of them is almost certainly Ursa. You can tell from the kind of, there's often a reddish glow that appears when Ursa is there, but you're not yet sure who the other rider is next to Ursa. As they get closer, though, you notice that Ursa is in the front, and there's a chain that's around the second rider. And as they get closer, you notice that it's actually Tile who has been chained by Ursa, and he says when he gets close enough to speak, he says, Heka, I thought that you might resist the overtures that I've made to Capella to kind of bring us back together, and that's why, to make sure that you don't pull something, to ensure that you kind of deal with this appropriately. I've unfortunately had to bring Tile here, and he'll be returned to you, but I wanted to make sure that this was a conversation and not some other type of foul fight.
you've taken, by your actions, you took a son away from the mother. Would you take a husband too? This shows exactly what you are now.
You have no right to return. You have no right to torment her further. By your very coming back, you forfeit any claim to right. You are dead, and you should remain so.
Ursa turns to Capella and says, with a smile, and says, "Capella, it's been far too long that we've been separated. Come. I have no desire to fight your mother, but I certainly would like to ignite the relationship we once had."
Yeah, she
Can I ask a question? Because this is we have established. What does he look like? Give me an, give me an image. It's like,
he Ursa. I mean, he's in armor. He has on his helmet, though, prominently a kind of wrought in the metal. This kind of, it's almost like a metal with a kind of crystalline appearance, but there is a bear kind of image that's prominently featured on the top of it. And as I say, he has this kind of strange orange red glow that surrounds him, that kind of even lights up this area around him. And I guess at this point you only see the face from below the nose, so you see his mouth, and he always seems to have some type of a smile, but the different ways to read the different smiles that he makes. But he's definitely smiling at Capella right now as she moves towards him to join him.
She kicks up her horse and rides forward to go alongside him. And would you like to intervene at this point, Kieran?
Yes, I was about to say, I get to conflict phrase as well, don't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing that you can do, and it's at the bottom, which deal with the moons. So you can say, but it was no matter, to try to negate or oppose a moon statement. And at that point, it will only happen if Robbie picks up, we shall see what comes of it.
Yeah. So I got, is this the most passive-aggressive phrase I've seen in the game design for a while, but it was of no matter. It's just an amazing thing to say to another player. But I think, actually, we shall see what comes of it. I think Capella can only do it if she can ride towards it, but her mother is going to be jumping immediately after her.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it can work that way. Like, I'm trying to. I don't know how the phrases work, but when you say we shall see what comes of it, you're taking up the moon statement as your own. So effectively, you'd be turning things over then to Robbie to respond.
I think it probably could be either way, couldn't it? I mean, this is something that clearly Heka would not want.
Yeah, or at least I would want a response to it. Is this kind of, and it's the only way of me to sort of, so the actual what I could do is, but it was no matter, then say, and then she rides forward and I jump her. That's the really anal way.
Effectively, that is the way you can actually do it. You can actually, when you say, but it was no matter, you can actually narrate, but your character intervenes in this way to stop her.
Okay.
So that is, I think, how you would say it. That like you'd narrate how your character opposes the moon statement.
Yeah. So like, I'll just do it. So as Capella rides forward, it was no matter. Her mother was quicker. Immediately throwing herself after her daughter onto the back of a horse, even as she rides forward. They're now on the back of the same horse, and she's trying to pull the horse around so she can't ride forward. You will not.
And effectively, because I'm just a moon, that just works. Unless, of course, Robbie wants to step in. We shall see what comes of it.
Yeah, I think I would do that. Say we shall see what comes of it, and then I can go into a conflict phrase, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, but only if you notice as you do this that there is a subtle reddish orange glow that's emanating from Capella herself.
Cool. Like, to make sure I understand the order of this is basically what I've narrated too much. I should have just said, but it was of no matter, and the what shall come of it was actually in response to the original statement by Stephen, or is the what? It's frustrating because obviously I'm actually all these ideas sound great to me. I'm quite happy to go with any of this, but I'm just trying to make sure like what we're meant to be doing here.
So basically, what happens when a moon does something that one of the heart or mistaken player doesn't want is that either. Actually, okay, I'm looking here and I was mistaken. You can jump directly into we shall see what comes of it and go into conflict phrases.
Yeah.
So that was my mistake here, Kieran. I apologize.
Cool. No, that makes sense. Actually, no, I can see on the diagram as well now.
And I will throw in, presumably, if you're playing a character that's other than the mistake, other than the heart of the mistaken, then it's effectively you're playing a moon, right? Whether you're actually a moon or not.
What was that?
If you're playing a character other than the heart or mistaken, you're playing a moon, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
Yes, whether or not. So yes. Andromeda tries to seize hold of Heka to restrain her from her actions. But again, this is a moon, and you have the power to.
Actually, we'll see what comes. We'll see what comes of it. But only if I put my elbow directly in her face to knock her back, saying, "You would do no less for your sister. Do you expect me to watch, my daughter to ride off?"
Andromeda, caught by surprise, is struck right off of her steed and falls 20 feet to the ground.
Ouch. There's the moment that I only have a second to feel shame, but it's soon taken over by the anger, and I try to ride after my daughter before she approaches. I notice that there's a soft orange glow around her. This makes me fear the worst.
Okay, now you said a but only if statement, right? Yeah. So it's up to me now to write as the mistaken.
We've made it hard on ourselves by having two players in the scene, haven't we?
Well, the thing is, the mistaken, you're always negotiating with the mistaken. You're never actually negotiating with another heart player. Any
other heart player is effectively a moon.
Okay. So, but it's up to me now to respond to that, but only if statement, correct?
If you want, as long as you want to, yes, or any of the other ones.
All right. Let's do this. So you're now just to make sure that I understand. So you've kind of elbowed it's Andromeda, right?
Yes.
Off of her steed and are kind of making your way towards. Are you making your way towards Ursa now?
I'm trying to get to the daughters still. I mean, I'm on the back of the magic horse, which is, to be honest, pretty cool for my character, but still very dramatic and awful. Especially I've never ridden any creature like this. In fact, no one has.
Okay, so what are we determining here? Because what I earlier said was that she rides forward and then you intervene. So you're not intervening to jump onto the back of her horse.
I was, but then there was like then there was the grab by Andromeda, which I presumed would have slowed me down. So I'd had, you know.
So just go forward from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm heading out. Yeah.
All right. And furthermore, and to do the and furthermore statement, I would invoke one of the themes, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna invoke the theme from the abilities, your lord of demons. You see Ursa pull tightly on the chain that is around Tile, and you know that this is no normal chain, that there is some type of demonic magic that is kind of radiating from that. And you don't hear Tile scream, but you can tell that when Ursa has pulled that, Tile is in extreme agony. And Ursa says, Heka, stand down. Behave yourself. You can see that our daughter wants to come to me. Maybe she will be lost to you, but certainly that's better than you losing both her and this beast I have at the end of my chain.
Right. And I say, and that's how it happened. And then I continue the conversation, which would be like Heka just stands there. She's caught up with her daughter now. So there's this moment. Heka grabs her daughter, puts her sword to the daughter's throat, and says, "I would rather my daughter be dead than a demon. Yeah, if she goes to you, there is nothing to her. And if you are ever any part of her father, you know, if it were ever her father at all, you would not put her, you know, he would not do this to you." And this is partially to partially to my daughter, and partially to the demon as well.
Let's see how I want to respond to that. Ursa responds, certainly our daughter has a will of her own. She can make her own decisions.
But can you? That's the question. Is there anything of the man I loved in there? If you remember, remember our wedding. Remember how everything was so beautiful. How could we here with weapons on our loved ones' throats, shouting at one another? This is not who we were. How can this be us now?
Well, the morning star has appeared. The sun has risen. Things have changed. Change has come into the world. Time is now passing.
my hand's shaking. I have no desire. You know, obviously, every part of my body is screaming the fact I've got this blade at my daughter's throat. And tears in my eyes. I shall sort of shout back in this. We can't, if you wish to talk to your daughter, it cannot be like this. We need to find. I will swear what oaths, on whatever oaths you like. We'll find a meeting. We will do this in some other way, but it cannot be like this.
Let's see. I want to, let's say, I feel like maybe one last conflict to kind of bring this to an end. And let's say, but only if, right? So I accept all of this, but only if you recognize that Capella is resisting you and is clearly is clearly kind of drawn to Ursa at this point. Physically, I mean, you realize physically you can keep her right now, but only if you realize that Ursa has a kind of deep emotional grip on her.
I would like to maybe even just to really stab it into the heart, like, but only if you realize that Ursa loves her father more than you.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah.
Capella loves her father. Yep.
Yeah, we shall see what comes of this, I guess. So I'll say that to that one. But I want to say, but only if the thing that keeps here is Heka swears that if she's going to go to you and meet you, she needs to be trained, prepared for it. I've our parents' duties should have been to prepare for a meeting between daughter and father, and I've entirely failed in that. Yeah, when she's prepared and her own, and she is truly received the squire's training, like she can face you properly.
All right, and why don't we just say, and that was how it happened.
That sounds great. And just the way to mention the scene, there's this awful, we kind of go separate. We haven't actually defined what we sort of back off. And I don't know, do you want to do something with Tia? Are you going to let him go? Or are you going to, what's going to happen there?
Yeah. Ursa, after that releases the chain, and Teal and kind of knocks Teal off the horse, and rides off with the two horses. Teal is splayed on the ground and is still in agony, and doesn't seem to be cognizant of exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and mechanically, I'd like to point out that, like, Kieran, you could have asked, but only if Ursa releases Till, for example, as well.
Right, yeah.
In that last conflict, but
yes,
just as a reminder.
Cool. So, and the image there is all gathered around. Till's a mess on the floor. I imagine Capella is furious at me, and I tell Capella, "You do not have to love me. My job is to keep you alive." And I glance back at Andromeda, who is presumably catching up because I've stolen her horse.
Staggering. Well, she staggers to her feet.
Yeah.
And
I said I need, I said I was Squire, your sister. I need someone to train my daughter. And the laws of our order means I cannot actually have my daughter as the Squire. Would you please help me in this? I am in a, and you can see literally the fear and the tears and this confusion, and it's not something that's very easily and obvious in this person.
Of course, I am I will do everything I can. My time is not always my own, but I will spare every moment.
Thank you. You are my dearest friend, and so it was.
Good. And I did just to let you know another thing about the mechanics. I've put under the abilities of Heka. I just put mistake in there because I did invoke for the and furthermore statement the lore of demons, and so I as the mistaken cannot expend that. You can expend it, right? But I can't expend it again until things get refreshed for that.
I noticed something which I had an idea. I'm actually, since you can actually draw on these diagrams with the little marker, I put a mark to the right of it if it's the demon or the mistaken used it, and the mark to the left if the player used it. As in, I've done it in grey, but I can change it to a different colour.
And yeah, for the mistaken is always the arbiter of if the heart rolls for experience. But to wrap up the scene, it definitely feels like that she has drawn a blade on one of the people.
Yes. Yeah. So that's yeah. I agree. I think a roll for experience is warranted, and so you roll a d6.
Yep, and I roll a. Oh, sorry. And I roll under, which means I reduce my zeal by 1. Yes.
Yeah, and you bump up one of the others by 1.
Cool.
All right. What is your scene with Acamar?
The scene with Acamar, I'm imagining Acamar on one of his scouting sweeps that he does in the South, and he is always interested when he is scouting in the area that would give him the ability to stop by Xania, who is this is the New Moon character, the Southern woman who Acamar loves. And I think he's always happy to see Xania. I think this is going to be a scene. I don't know, Kieran. I'll kind of, if you have an idea like where exactly Xania would live and what her kind of position would be.
Yeah. In my head, I positioned her quite close to the Prince of the South because I thought the fiction we established was like the prince has moved into the area. So like, I mean, we could give her a little bit of a longer orbit, like something semi-nomadic. Like she's kind of like a sort of like a steppe people kind of princess, as in like she's mounted, she's got her own bodyguards. They roam freely, and they kind of orbit, perhaps almost like the scout function. That's a good idea. She's kind of the leader of the scout faction of the prince's army. Like, so that gives her a good reason, for example, to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at least opportunity.
Yeah, and well, this will be interesting because like why don't we imagine the two of them I guess the two of them are maybe engaged in scouting for their respective sides, but Akmar has kind of arranged to send her a message that they could meet. So let's imagine it a kind of rugged area. It's a little thawed out, being in the South, kind of cold, but still thawed out, and that in this kind of rugged area, there's a kind of Acamar kind of knows it pretty well. He's been here before, and he kind of notes a kind of place, in, I don't imagine it has to be a cave, but some place kind of hidden back in the hills where the two of them would meet. And let's also just imagine that the two of them have agreed that it would help if, in terms of these rendezvous, if they had the clothing of the other side, so if needed, that they could go in disguise. And so Acamar is bringing to this meeting a kind of uniform that somebody from the Sentinel of the South would be wearing, and it will fit her perfectly. And he's expecting her to reciprocate and to be bringing to this meeting a kind of outfit worn by the Southern Scouts that would fit him.
That's great.
And maybe Xania arrives there first, but then she hears the sound of steps kind of working their way up into this hidden area of the hills, and this is Acamar arriving, kind of carrying this outfit that he has prepared for her.
She smiles. It's looking that you're a great fighter, because you are terrible at sneaking.
Well, yes, sneaking is not my forte, but I am trying to learn some things. Being a member of the Sentinel of the South, I do sometimes have to kind of conduct missions where I won't be spotted. But certainly, what we are bringing here will probably make such efforts a little easier for us.
I would hope so. If I've no idea, to be honest, your land is very beautiful, but almost in inverse proportionality to how utterly inhospitable it is. Like this land is not for me. The people I like. She's one of these people who's genuinely quite fun, and she's enjoying herself, but she's very much aware that she's making slightly too many jokes because she thinks bad times are ahead. She says, "I believe you brought me a gift."
Yes. This did require some sneaking and on my part, but here, let me show you. And he, there's a place on the ground where he kind of throws down what he's been carrying, and he unbridles it, and it's a very has I imagine, right, this is something that, like, the Knights of Knights of the Star would the Order of the Stars would wear, and it is simultaneously very functional, but also, right, has a kind of fineness to the kind of metal work on it, that it make it seem simultaneously strong, and yet, right, also kind of fine and exquisite.
And she's absolutely enchanted by this, as in, like, there's this level of scout to her. She's a scout in all things. She's got a very fine eye, and she says, "I'm honoured. Thank you so much, Acamar. And I could pass for one of you wherever I was. Let's just hope I don't, for example, choose to sneak into your lands and get up to some mischief. That would be incredibly unfortunate, wouldn't it?" She smiles. "What about your gift?" And she passes a package to you.
And he's Acamar is clearly excited about this, and so he he takes the package, puts it down by the one that he had kind of unfurled the Knight of the Order of the Knight of the South regalia, and he opens up this package.
And it's very different. It's the this is not like scout wear. This is like noble wear. This is like noble wear for the court of the prince, and it is. And I imagine for somebody who's grown up in the cold, this is literally looks freezing. This would bear. It's very gossamer thin. It's like multiple layers. It's very delicate, very pretty, but very delicate. And they're very much like court wear.
Mm-hmm. And Acamar says, "Well, that looks very, very fine, but are you? I'm a little baffled as to what I would do with such an outfit. I mean, this looks like something where I would be working my way not as a scout in the frontier, but which is where I usually am, but like I would be. This is what your people wear when they're when they're relaxing or where they're conducting business of state or what."
Or when they're ordering people like me around. She smiles. It's like, I had two thoughts. And it's like, I do not think you would ever pass as one of my scouts. Like, if they met you, they would know immediately it's not you. They would, however, if you changed into a noble gear and you were with me, they would absolutely believe you were an idiot nobleman incapable of knowing what is going on. She smiles. And of course, more importantly, and if you were found by yourself wearing this, they could if you merely said you were lost, they would believe. Our people would absolutely respect you no matter your actions in this clothes, and I think it makes you safer. And perhaps most importantly, I think one day you're going to come to the prince's court, and I would like you to make a proper show. For example, if ever any words, if there's any rumors about us, I would like you to actually make an impression.
Zania, excuse me. You have in your possession a letter, sealed, which is addressed to Acamar in a court hand, which you were given to give to him when you thought the time was right. You're keenly aware of this as you're talking.
Unless Robert wants to bump in and know that. Robert, do you want to do anything to that, or?
But you say it's a letter. Does she know who the letter is from, or what the who gave it to her, and does she have any idea of what the contents?
It was given to her. It was given to her by a guard captain, and it is written in a courtly hand.
Cool. I say, and I think I have a second gift for you. The princess. I was told to give it to you when the times were right, and I felt the prince is increasingly to the north. The scouts are going ever deeper. I think the time is right. Please. I'll help with any of the difficult words.
Acamar takes the letter and says, there's a little worry on his face. He says, "So somebody at the court has known that you would be seeing me. I thought that we were going to keep our meetings a secret."
I'm going to moon statement this as in that she kind of like, the truth is, she's always been aware there's been some contact between scouts, but she's never really revealed that to Acamar.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some infiltration. There's always some conversations with the following, and she's made it aware that she's in contact with the knights in some broad way. But the truth of their clothes, of course, she's going to lie about that.
Mm-hmm. Um, I, I'm gonna let for now let this stand, and Acamar will open up the letter to see what the contents say.
The letter is it's itself a beautiful thing. It is written on gold-edged paper, and it is sealed with a red wax seal with a signet that with an elaborate signet. And when you open it, it is addressed to you, and it says, "You are hereby invited to the court of His Imperial Highness, the Prince of the South. Safe conduct is guaranteed."
Okay. Akmar, says, I've been at Xania. Did you know that this was an invitation? Is that why you made this regal outfit? Why that is what you brought?
I never knew it was an invitation. It could have been a declaration of war. I presume by the fact you're still speaking and smiling, it's not. I know my prince's rhythms. I know his movements. And when contacting uncivilized people, she smiles at that. He is not an invite at this sort of point would seem correct. And trust me, you'll enjoy it. There is few parties like the South.
And it promises me that I would be safe. Of course, there's reason why I would be skeptical of such a promise. Like, how would I know that this isn't just simply the most obvious of traps, where I would appear and they would kind of look, with a grave opportunity to kind of get their claws into me.
She smiles at this as I'm a very particular type of man, and my type of man is true and trusting and true to their word. And if you are one, so is he. She sort of smiles at this. They were, if they strike you down, the entire a small diplomatic party would be of no risk unless things truly escalated. I do not know the rules of courtesy in the north, but in the south, courtesy is paramount. It would be anything that would come at you would be surreptitious. And to be honest, the tongues in the court can be as sharp as any of your swords. But I suspect you would find out. His aim, of course, is to find out as much as he can about you. But the same is true. And to be honest, in my experience, going to another court generally gives you more than them. Unless you could reverse the option.
No, Acamar makes, nods and says, well, this certainly seems like an intriguing opportunity, but given the given the peril that I would be putting myself in, I think it makes sense that the leader of your company, while I make this visit to the court, that the leader of your company would be held by two of my most trusted men in the interim, to ensure that, I would be safe. And so, he insists that would be a kind of reasonable set up for this, right? That the leader of this scout group will be treated nicely by two of Acamar's companions while he's off.
So you mean Zanaya there then? Yes.
Yeah, I think that actually sounds good. Yeah, that Zanaya would.
You would make me a hostage. I'm truly hurt.
Oh, but
yes, but only if you're willing to be seen as a barbarian.
Yeah.
But only if then you're the mistaken and then I'm the heart. So I guess it's like, but only if she would be seen as a barbarian, because I think that with the conflicts, it's going to be between the heart and the mistaken now.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's why I interjected by only if. Saying you'll come only with a hostage, I said, and I contend, but only if you're willing to be seen as a barbarian.
If I'm willing to be seen, in other words, Acamar would be willing to be seen
Correct.
as a barbarian.
And if you take Zanya as a hostage, have her seen as a token.
Okay.
After all, that implies you would be willing to put her to death if you were killed.
And let's say, and furthermore, and here I think I'm going to, I think I'll for that end, furthermore, I have to invoke one of my themes. And I had a couple ideas, but I'm going to invoke the big ability, the fact that I physically do not look like the other knights of Polaris. So I would be seen as a barbarian. And furthermore, they would recognize that though I may be considered a barbarian, that there's something about me in particular that is unique and special, and despite the barbarian nature, had to be honored. Or at least, if not honored, at least treated with some level of care, because they're not really quite sure about why it is that I look so different than the other barbarians, right? That I'm not simply a barbarian then, right? I am a barbarian, but right. Furthermore, there is something kind of special and unique about me.
Well, you're being tendered an invitation, right? That already implies that there's something special and unique about you.
Mm-hmm.
We're being invited to be the prince's guests.
Well, that's true, but I think that there's something going to be about like just my physical appearance then that's going to be for those who haven't seen me before but have seen other Knights of Polaris, they're going to also realize that there's something kind of unique about Acamar.
Yeah. You mean like a barbarian celebrity, basically? It's kind of like, basically, imagine if Conan turned up, to use the bad metaphor, you'll be like, yes, you're a barbarian, but you're clearly an interesting barbarian.
Right. Who needs to be maybe kind of right. At the very least, they initially need to look at this one with particular kind of care and try to figure out like what is it about this Knight of Polaris that kind of gives him such a this physical appearance that seems so out of keeping with what they've seen before.
Yes, although that would just make you seem more of an outsider. And furthermore, and I'm going to take here the Sentinel of the Southern Lands, I think. That radically increases the likelihood that the pro-war faction may try to kill you. Because if your side retaliates against Zarya, that will force the prince's hand, they think.
So in other words, the whole situation is going to increase the possibility.
Yes. I'm saying yes, you're escalating. You have ratcheted up by having hostages, you increase the likelihood that the whole thing's going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Because now there's the possibility of having bloodshed on both sides that can't be taken back. And there are people who want a war. You don't know what the prince wants.
Yeah, right.
But there are factions that do.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this.
Okay. And I'll say, and that was how it happened.
Okay.
So we'll kind of bring it there. And I think, we can put behind the veil the some of the intimacy of the rendezvous, but walking out from this hiding space, you see Acamar dressed in the regal outfit that has been provided. Would Xania be wearing, like, he's going to take her to the two companions of his? Would she be wearing her scout outfit, or would she be? And does she?
I see her as in a. She's come out in her practical clothes, is the way I see it.
Right.
Yeah, it's riding clothes, a lot of leather, as warm as she can make it, which is not necessarily the speciality.
Right.
Right. And so the two companions are there, right? He kind of takes her off to where they are, and says, well, I'm off to the, holds out the invitation, off to the audience that I've been invited to. And he looks at his two companions and says, you are to treat her with respect. She needs to be, she's somebody special to our cause, and do not disappoint me.
Of course, but we also know what to do in case of the worst.
And when you add that in case of the worst, he says, well, that surely will not happen. You know, I am sure that I will be able to handle myself in this situation, and I expect you to handle yourself properly in this situation as well. And should we bring it to an end there? Is that a good?
Sure.
And so it was.
That's how it came to pass.
All right.
Okay, that's putting odds on Xania here. All right. I want to hear about Alshane. Or Alshane. That's the premise, as the case may be.
Yeah, Stephen had to drop out.
Oh.
Yeah, like 4:52. So we have to ship something's come up. I'll jump back on if I can, but I can't promise.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm looking at the yellow board.
I kind of would like to see, and this could, I think, be with either of your, now I guess it would be, Brandon, it would be your character, but, you know, the Morning Star.
Yes, I think it's time to, I'd like to bring in the Morning Star.
Yeah.
At this point, and have a, yeah.
But yeah, so if you wanted a scene with Andromeda that would bring in the Morning Star, and then I could fill in for the Mistaken in that scene in terms of pushing the conflicts.
Yes. And Nyx is perfectly capable, by the way, of appearing wherever and whenever he wants to. He's very much a gadfly.
Mm-hmm. Does his appearance change, or does he usually have the same appearance?
His clothing and aspect changes. You know, but it's always him. You know, he's a very good-looking man. You know, aquiline features, tall, muscular. Well spoken, well dressed. Comfortable. Andromeda, he's never fought Andromeda, and Andromeda is not clear that he can be fought. I mean, she might have tried a couple of times, but he always seems to be able to disappear when he wants to. And when he does appear, she recognizes that talking to him is the only way to get rid of him. And so she does.
Okay.
He also he's very good at getting under her skin, of course. And other people's too. So I propose that this scene is in The Mistake. And it is a strange, it is a stone building, fairly columnar with spires. And in there is a grand room with a throne that's made of stone. And this is where the Morning Star has taken residence. What it used to be a long time ago is not known. Maybe the Morning Star knows, but I don't.
Have you any preferences for like the Morning Star's like visuals or like demeanor? Like I've got a couple of ideas, but I just the fact that this is religion touches on a few characters and none of them are mine. I just want to make sure I want to be in line with that.
Feel free to suggest. The only thing that's been established is that the morning star is celestial.
I
In
picture
other words, that we in the cult believe that the morning star, the thing that you see in the sky, is and this person are the same, are two aspects of the same being.
cool.
And this is a shape that the star has chosen to take for important reasons.
Like the image I've got, like the image of the Morningstar I picture is the Morningstar on the throne, but like not on the throne. He's not around the throne. Like he walks and he paces, and he's got a very, very no fat, which is no fat, and you can tell because he's actually basically in very little clothes. And it doesn't seem to feel the cold at all. And when he speaks very calmly. He doesn't have many inflections. He sort of speaks with the unrelenting heat of the sun. Like it just goes on and on and on and just speaks in a tone like this. And it never gets angry no matter how much he feels. But the thing that everyone notices, which is the creepiest thing about him, is the entire front of his forehead and eyes are missing. And it's replaced by a ball of plasma. Like there's this kind of literally a miniature sun in his forehead. And it's basically where there would be a helmet. So it's like this. And he sort of normally has this beatific smile beneath the awful plasma glow, which radiates across the room. It's easy to see why you might think this creature is connected with the sun. I mean, is that too much, or is that like we've been quite grounded so far? Like,
I don't think he's not grotesque. I think.
Okay, cool.
But he radiates warmth.
Cool. So let's take it down to just human form and property, then, yeah.
I think so. Well, he has an intensity that cannot be mistaken, and he is physically warm.
Cool.
The room is warm. In this otherwise cold, sepulchral building, in the middle of the pole, is warmed as if there were big crackling fires in it. His presence is astonishing.
Okay.
And he has golden eyes. How's that?
That's great. Yeah.
Andromeda rides into the antechamber, dismounts, takes off her helmet and her gloves, checks her accoutrements, strides into the audience chamber and falls to one knee with her head bowed.
As the morning sun like glows, it walks over, touches your shoulder gently, and raises you to feet. And like there's a quick of kissing on the cheek. Is the kind of image I get, like really welcoming, like really got the kind of like, I'm so glad you came. Speak to me.
There was an entity named Fraxios that appeared in the southern reaches near the Wakash Mountains. Fortunately, still in a nascent form, and I was able to kill it and scattered its ashes. It should not, if it can come back from that, it should be quite some time. There are rumors of impending war, as they always are, but they haven't changed. And as far as I know, there have been no skirmishes between the army of the South and those of the people. I have no other news. All else is as it should be.
I understand.
I am here reporting as ordered.
I understand.
My father guide me.
I understand it's difficult, that the suspicion you face for the closeness to the Morning Star, they will come to understand that the warmth of the warming star, the warmth of the Morning Star is very different from the fires of the hells of the Mistaken. These are very different things. But you come to difficult times. I mean, the Mistaken is a weight that draws all and attempts to extinguish all. And this is what we fight. The people of the South are more familiar with the Morning Star, but they're used to it. That's the fear. That's what I fear will actually lead to conflict. They've some come used to the heat, used to the gentle touch, that they do not feel the wonder you feel. Your faith is new and beautiful. And it's important that you remind them of that.
I try. There is a great deal of ice in the hearts of most of the people around here. There is fear and jealousy and anger even sometimes too, although I don't understand that. The warmth of your presence sustains me. And I am as always as ever at your service.
There are those who fear so much they cannot even dare to hope, and this is what we will bring to them. We will save everyone, my child. All will be well again. There will be a summer. There will be a spring.
As you say.
There's you've been in this conversation alone, and at this point there's a loud rapping at the door to the chamber, and you hear a voice on the other side saying, can we come in now? Is this the time?
My lord.
This is a beatific glow in the sense that all times are the right time.
Okay, and the door opens, and there are three figures in the door. One of them is a knight of the Order of the Stars. Give her the name Reyna, but she's with somebody who is clearly from the South. You haven't seen that person before, but they clearly are wearing the regalia of a warrior from the South. And then there's a third figure who is clearly a demon. And I was wondering whether it'd be interesting to have it be Nyx himself that would be part of this trio. That would be.
It might, although but he could easily send someone.
Yeah. But let's say it isn't Nyx, but it's a demon. Demons take all sorts of forms. Some of them are horrific and monstrous, right? And others are like Nyx, these very refined, handsome, charismatic type of demons. This is a demon like Nyx, and so this unlikely trio kind of walks in, and they say that they look first at the morning star, and they bow, and then they look at Andromeda, and they say, "Is this the one who you told us about? The one who you thought might be open-minded enough to understand and embrace the new ideas you have about bringing peoples together?"
And I pictured it again, just a sage nod, as in Andromeda is one who understands that the morning star shines down on all peoples. I'm sure that she can make this final step of faith.
And the demon is the one who steps forward and kind of walks towards Andromeda with his hands open and says,
She tenses up.
and the demon says, "I realize that there has been plenty of conflict. There has been plenty of room for suspicion, anger, and hatred, but there might be another way."
I don't understand.
Well, the morning star is well, the plan is not fully revealed yet, but the morning star has been coming to me and the other demons to bringing fresh ideas to the table about how we might not have to combat the Knights of Polaris, that the two of us might be able to come to some agreement, some kind of reconciliation.
But there are those of yours who seek to corrupt.
Oh,
There are monsters among you.
You say corrupt. It may be that was the case in the past. I fear that you and the other knights will not see that times are changing, though, that us demons have changed, and Reyna has changed, and points over to this knight.
Do not presume. I am not any knight. I am the daughter of the morning. What do you offer as warrant?
Okay, he says, "Why don't you come to the next council that the Morning Star holds with the demons? The Morning Star has been here in the Mistaken holding court for some time. I'm sure that if you stayed with us to hear his counsel and to speak to other demons, you would be persuaded.
And my Lord wills it, I will be there. But, Father, I must make up my own mind. I say to the Morning Star.
The Morning Star nods serenely. This is difficult. As in all true believers are walking a difficult path, and the warmth of the sun does keep does protect you and keep you warm, but it does fatigue you, and the march is very long. You are not alone, and I'm with you every step of the way. I'm sure you'll reach the destination that you will, and all will be well.
If it is my Father's will that I come to this meeting, then I shall.
And
but until then, I will not be persuaded.
And the demon also then gives you pulls out a note, and you notice that it's in an envelope, and the envelope is addressed to you, and you recognize that it's Vulpecula's handwriting on it, and he offers it to you.
What is this? Where did you come by this? I scan it.
I mean, the demon says, well, Vulpecula has been kind of instrumental in kind of giving us information about the Knights of Polaris and about the people. She has spent much time in that archive of hers, not simply researching Polaris, but and the glory of the past, but also has been researching demons, and she has been absolutely instrumental in trying to bring our two people together.
And Andromeda is stupefied by this news.
And
I don't believe you.
And the demon says, well, I'm sure that the letter will help to explain things to you.
I will hear you. But understand that as I am daughter of the morning, that any betrayal will be met by the full force of the sun's blast.
The demon takes a step, he gives you the letter, takes a step back, and says, well, he looks over at Reyna, the knight of the Order of the Stars, and Reyna says, when such ideas were first presented to me, I had similar reactions, but I've come a long way, and with the appearance of the Morning Star and the future of the sun's dawning on us, we all must change.
I will listen. That is all I can say. No, and that was how it happened.
And it's just more like building from the last one. But I'll do it because it's very short, I think.
Sure.
And so it was. Heka found herself in the prisons beneath the city. She demanded in. The guards refused her at first, but this is Heka the bride. It's not like they could, premier demon fighter. She made her way in, and she found Teal. Till he was imprisoned. Libra, of course, she heard news that Libra had imprisoned her husband because he was demon touched. That demon collar upon him has marked him, and they need to make sure that he is properly purged of any possible influence. Heka reaches the cell, the thick iron bars, the damp. Of course, damp here is really dangerous in the cold, and she leans against there, seeing her friend. Her father-in-law, her awful secret in her heart. Look, she'll let you go soon, I'm sure. She says to Teal. How did you know?
Yeah, and which of us should play Till? I mean, that would normally be Steven.
Yeah.
I think you, because I may bring in Libra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you say that again? What was your comment to Till?
I'm sure Libra will let you. She just wants to make sure. I mean, demon touches is awful. It's going to be okay.
He stands up and he shows you his arms where he has the kind of markings of that chain that was around him, and he says, well, I mean, the touch is upon me, and it goes beyond simply what you see here. It has chilled me. It has chilled me to my heart. But well, I mean, that time with Ursa was, I cannot remember much of it, but what I do remember, it was it was horrific, and it is clear to me that Ursa is looking for ways to defeat you that go beyond simply a kind of physical fight.
We've proved many times he cannot beat me with force of arms. He knows that you're my weak spot. He knows that my daughter's my weak spot. He knows that he is my weak spot. How did he find you? I mean, how did he take you? What brought you to the wilderness? This is a little bit sharper. She's kind of like a bit angry with him here.
It was a ruse. I got a message that you wanted to see me under some sense of urgency, and I went to the the storeroom. It was a mysterious place for a meeting, but you know, I had no reason to question it. And when I got to the storeroom, I saw who, you know, somebody who I knew, but Ursa seems to be able now to appear as other people. He seems to have infiltrated Tall Star. He always used to be somebody who would appear as we saw him, as you saw him, right, out on that plane riding out to the east. But he, I fear that he is relying more heavily on subterfuge, and he has some type of ability to pass even within the walls of Tall Star without people noting him.
I've guarded the walls for these years, and now that it's fruitless. Can I just add a bit? Like there's a, I think this is subtextual anyway, but to kind of make it explicit, he went to that room because he thought there was going to be a confession of love or something with me, like just to make it explicit. And there's that glance between us, and how could you be such a fool? Like this is not to be.
I would like to put in a Moon suggestion here. That at this point, the captain of the guard says, Honored Heka, your presence is requested by the matriarch in her offices.
I feel like I'm not wearing my armor, but I feel the weight anyway. I look up to Teal and say, this has to end. I'll find a way to end it. I'll find a way to save you. And then she stops. I'll try to find a way to save you. She saw what happened to her husband. She's not going to make promises she can't even hope to keep. And then leaves the matriarch. Actually, one last thing is like we have to save you. You're the only. Libra is brilliant, and she's held this country together. But she's harsher than the winter that bombards us. You were her only leavening aspect. I hate to think what she would become without you. I hate to think what any of us would become without you. And then she leaves.
So you meet with Libra.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, she makes her way to the matriarch's chambers.
You are ushered in. Libra asks the guard to leave. And it is just the two of you.
I'm sorry, matriarch.
My heart is heavy, daughter.
How could it not be?
The examiners have done their work on Teal. And they report that the poison runs deep. I asked them whether they could be sure that he had not been changed. And they said they could not guarantee that. You know what this means.
She nods, just like weakly.
And yet, I cannot. Am I weak? I hesitate. I hesitate to do the thing that I know is right.
Mother. She only calls, obviously, the mother-in-law, but she only ever calls her mother when it's these moments of real intensity between them. This is mother. None has been as strong as you are. Whose hand would not twitch if the blade was thrust against the man you love's throat? I could not deliver that blow. But
and yet, what choice do I have? If this were anyone else, my decision would be swift and automatic before the possibility of, before they could possibly do harm, before the poison could spread, before they could escape by trespassing on someone's weakness and cause incalculable problems, or worse, seem normal until it were revealed that they were not. We have seen this happen before.
Yeah.
The only thing that can be done with a poisoned wound is to cauterize it. And yet, they are already starting to speak of favoritism. Because I have failed to act.
You've lost a son to the demons. You know, you spent your life in service to these people. To lose a husband too. No one. This burden is too much for anyone.
But if the examiners are right, my husband is lost already. He is simply not dead.
Yeah, give me a month, give me a moon rising, and I'll see what I can. Vulpeka is now my squire. She's learned. Perhaps there is a way. Perhaps there's something we can do. And if not, I will ride to the heart of the mistake and find an answer. And if I do not return, well, you know the answer too.
A moon, then. But then it must be. Then it will be as it must be.
It will be as it must be.
I can stay no longer. I cannot make an exception. I will lose the respect of those that all the people depend upon, that my office depends upon.
I think about arguments to comfort her, and I know they're hollow. She has been, this iron rod for the entire nation, and it's like, yeah, there is only so much that would take, even in this case.
No, there are those even now who argue that it would be a mercy to do this sooner rather than later. But I just, for the first time, she's got her sword lying across her desk, and she just looks at it and she goes, "I cannot."
Sorry.
I cringe from my hand will not go to the hilt.
I reach out and touch the matriarch's hand, and this I am the bride of legend. The people believe in me as much as they fear the demons. I will see if I can write a better ending for this legend. A month. That's what I need. And if not, we will do what we must.
One moon. And pray to the stars that he does not escape during that time.
Guard him well.
I will, but you know that there are some things which cannot be guarded against.
Yes. And I think of my husband and the shape changing and the travel and my fear there, and then kind of bury it and head forth.
And there are those who might liberate him thinking that he was still who he was, seeking to what they think of as justice.
And I imagine maybe a quick little cut to Till in his cell. He's laying down, but he's staring up at the ceiling, and faintly you hear this voice. Clearly it's Ursa's voice saying, "Soon, soon, you will be sprung from this prison and you will be mine.
But only if Capella knows as well, as in she receives the message as well, and we don't know what Capella will make of this message.
That she hears that voice talking to Till.
Yeah, as in that she gets the bit of the message, she essentially picks it up, and it's an awareness of like, oh, this is something that's happening. And I'm fine with if someone else wants to, but I don't want to define what Capella's reaction is to that. But her knowing something else strikes me as interesting.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. And that was how it
I don't
happened.
have to agree. I'm just chiming in as a player. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll say, and that was how it happened.
Okay.
And so it was.
So it was.
Let's have the ability to pile on the whole Lancelot Guinevere thing. Have to put him under death threat, right?
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a good place to end the session. I guess I should also say this is what you say at the end of the session, but that all happened long ago, and now there are none who remember it.